In 2015, a small channel did something completely 100% original. He talked about video games on the internet for no real reason other than to give his opinion that doesn't matter to anyone but himself. He would then rank these video games in what was subjectively his objective opinion on how they performed throughout the year comparing to other games. This year, he returns, doing the same thing as he did last year, but with a better microphone, and that's about it. Welcome to the Subjective Objective Awards of 2016, where I give my subjective opinion on what is objectively the best games of 2016. Best Aesthetic of 2016.
How'd you get fired and wind up in jail all on your first day, Henry? I thought it'd be a good idea to chuck some Roman candles into a smoldering fire pit. A regular forest burns.
Firewatch.
Hello, Two Forks Tower.
This game came out of nowhere for me. I somehow managed to miss all of the hype and the build-up that was leading up to this game. And I purely bought this game on a whim. There are multiple flaws with this game, I have to admit. Specifically the pacing of the story and how it handles the ending, because that was... that's a subject for another time. And I'm pretty sure so many people have talked about that already. But one thing this game does well is how it presents itself, both its visuals and its story. It's a very, very simplistic art style, but there's an odd charm to it. You know, honestly, I don't have much to say that you can't just see for yourself. It's very minimalistic, but it just looks... I dare to say the word beautiful. There's just an odd charm to it. It's a real shame about the flaws though.
Peggy 16.
Fury. I'd get ready if I were you, because you're going to see a lot of this game on this list throughout this entire video. The game makers called upon Takashi Okazaki of Afro Samurai fame to handle the art design and character design and all that, and it was a good choice. It was a good choice. Blended traditional Japanese imagery with their whole techno-punk style really turned out just simply amazing. Every boss, every stage, every attack, every visual within this game stands out on its own, and nothing is easily forgotten in this glorious mess of colours. Ratchet and Clank. This game is just glorious to look at. When most people think of just graphics or aesthetics, this is the type of thing that comes to mind, just sheer graphical fidelity. I can't think of many games in recent memory that have looked this graphically impressive. Then again, I am a filthy console peasant, so this might be the norm, I don't know, but goddamn does this game look amazing. Just look at this and tell me it's not just something spectacular to behold.
Ashen One, hearest thou my voice still?
Dark Souls 3. What can I say about the look of a Souls game that hasn't been said already? To death. Hell, what can I say that I didn't say last year about Bloodborne? From Software are masters at creating bleak, hopeless, dreary landscapes where every sight is instantly recognizable and yet wrong, twisted or diseased in some way. They have perfected the art of making worlds in decay, and they portray it oddly beautifully. Not in the typical sense of the word, that is. as always. Best Soundtrack of 2016. Hyper Light Drifter. Starting things off with the only game in this entire video I am yet to finish. And despite that, I have sat down and had this OST on loop for several days at a time. The music in this game is something special. There's no other way I can describe this. It struck a chord with me almost as much as the Crypt of the Necrodancer, and that's high praise because that game has spectacular music. And the fact that I have yet to beat the game, I am yet to hear most of the music in the game itself, in the actual context, and yet I can still sit down and listen to it and enjoy it, it speaks volumes to the actual game itself. Doom. What the actual hell do you want me to say here? No pun intended. Have you heard the music in Doom? Like, come on. If you want blood pumping, flesh pounding, rocktastic anthems that you can just load up and just jam to, then go to Doom. The music in Doom is actually amazing. There's no pretentious way to say this, it's just fucking amazing. It is music that you can shoot demons in the face until they are dead to. Digimon Cyber Sleuth. Yes, I'm somewhat of a weeb, I realise this, but you can say what you want about the game, you can say what you want about the Source franchise itself, but the music in this game is brilliant in all regards. The techno synth fits both the setting and the theme of the game, and every track, despite what's going on the screen, fits. Whether it be like upbeat, whether it be somber, there's something that fits perfectly for every scene, and that's just great. Also, Nokia's theme is the best theme in the game. Just throwing that out there. Fury. Fury takes this. There's no real contest. Let's be honest. The idea of approaching multiple different artists to compose each track in your game with only one set theme in mind that they must adhere to, that in and of itself is ambitious. But the fact that it worked, and it further cements the fact that every encounter in the game is its own unique thing. Visuals, music, the actual fight itself, everything is of its own caliber. Also, the fact that the music is probably some of the best music to come out of video games in a long time. It only serves to prove how much effort was put into this game, and by God did it pay off. Best Indie Game of 2016.
There is a great horror beneath the manor.
Darkest Dungeon.
A crawling chaos that must
Technically, this game was just released this year, despite being in early access most of last year, so I'm putting it in this year's list. This game, oh boy, this game is a trial. If you love facing unfair, unreasonable and insurmountable odds, but you love getting the thrill for when you finally overcome them, then this is the game for you. If you are into the whole XCOM, Dark Souls type difficulty, this game is for you. This game is not nice, nor is it fair. It will ruin your day if you're not prepared. And sometimes, even if you are prepared, it will still ruin your day. I have a glorious love-hate relationship with this game, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I see. This game literally came out of nowhere. This game just showed up on Steam one day, and I figured, you know what? I like hack and slash. I like this side-scrolling hack and slash. Let's give it a try. Oh my god, this game is two games. First, it is a very well-made, well-crafted side-scrolling hack and slash, almost spectacle fighter game. And then the other game is the game within a game. It is the Stanley Parable of hack and slash. You can go through the game with this robo girl called Icy and this bodiless narrator who comments on what you do, and you can outright ignore what the narrator says, and when you do, you go on a trip. The game creator himself jumps in with his own commentary, and you can know what to expect from these type of games. But this game did it well. Since Stanley Parable, so many games have tried to ape the game within a game genre methodology, but this game hits it so well, because not only does it do that so well, but if you play the game straight and legit, it is a very good game on its own without that. That Dragon Cancer. This game, I wasn't ready for what this game was gonna present to me. I went in almost 100% blind. All I knew was it had something to do with someone having cancer. And if you love interpersonal stories and games that fit into the whole walk-in simulator genre, then this game will be right up your alley. But expect some heavy emotional downpours as this family lays everything bare for you to witness. However, I must warn you, if you find it tiresome when someone's just jamming their religious beliefs down your throat, then go into this ready for that, because there's a lot of just blind faith just thrown at your face repeatedly. But that's to be expected. That is how this family operated when they were going through these dark times, and I cannot fault them for that.
I'm sorry, guys.
Although my main issue with this game isn't that, it's how they tried too hard to make it a game. This game could have just been a linear narrative experience. They tried to throw gamified elements into the game, and I can only assume that was to stop gamers from getting bored, but in the end it was to the detriment of the game itself. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I regret doing my video on it, because I feel like this is something that should not be watched. You should not watch other people play this. This is something you should sit down and experience for yourself.
Peggy 16.
Fury. Fury is, in all aspects, in my opinion, the best indie game of 2016. The music, as I mentioned, is amazing. The gameplay, as well as the aesthetic, also amazing. This game's difficulty and reliance on fast reflexes may put some people off, but to quote The Edge, the night boss of the game, "I want nothing but your best. Excellence is not an art, it is pure habit. We are what we repeatedly do." This game knows you are not perfect, but it will train you to be. It will force you to perfect your timing, your dodging, your parrying, your offense and your defense. This game is crushingly difficult for those unwilling to learn perfection, but if you are able to overcome that, this game is amazing. And the fact that they put speedrun modes into the game and trophies where the goal is to beat the creators of the game at their own game, it is a wonderful experience. Very short, but it does not outstay its welcome at all. Games I didn't like as much as everyone else in 2016. Salt and Sanctuary. I tried my hardest to like this game more than I do. It's not a bad game at all, but it felt lacking to me. Most of what it does really well. Converting the whole Souls formula into a 2D game was really quite impressive. But there's something I just couldn't get into about the game, and I'm not sure what it was. The further I got into the game, it felt less of a homage to Souls games and more of a, I dare to say, desperate attempt to copy it while trying to prove that you're different without differentiating enough, and the parts that it did differentiate in, it didn't do either well enough or it didn't do well at all. Like the Covenant system, I don't know exactly what my problem is with this game, but I just couldn't get into it. It could just be me, but it's how I felt. I just couldn't get into the game as much as I wanted to, and that's a shame because it is a good game.
Peggy 18.
Doom. Now, I'm not saying Doom is a bad game, far from it, but the sheer amount of praise and hype it got far surpasses what the game actually is. Yes, it's a fun game, but that in of itself doesn't justify the love and praise that it got. It's a fun game, doesn't take itself too seriously, and is just about shooting demons with big guns to rock music. And you can argue, this is Doom, what do you expect? But when you're shooting demon number 8345 in combat arena number 73, the repetition starts to set in. Once the game starts and you've shot the first demon in the face with a pistol, you've more or less experienced all the game has to offer, really. It doesn't change what it does from moment one. And yes, some people will love that. Clearly, a lot of people do love that. But to me, that's not enough. That's not enough. If you can sum up an entire game in a screenshot or a GIF, you can't exactly sell a whole game on that. And Doom did. I enjoyed my time with Doom. But people hailing it as the best thing in decades, it's really not. It's a good game, but it doesn't do enough. It's literally surface level. It is what you see. There's nothing more to it. It's just you're a man with a gun, shoot a demon till it dies. Inside. This game is a thing that exists. Did you play Limbo? Limbo was a cool game, right? Well, here's Limbo 2. You walk forward, you push some boxes, you see some weird shit, and then the game ends. That's really it. The game is really underwhelming, if you ask me. It presents some interesting scenarios, sure, but it's essentially Limbo with colour. And the ending of the game, in my opinion, is probably more underwhelming than No Man's Sky. Like, it'll be praised by so many people for being thought-provoking and stuff like that, but it's not. Honestly, it's nothing. It more or less plays itself while you just watch and hold the right stick forward. Or hold the right stick right because it's 2D. But it's really a nothing game. And I feel like I might be the only one who thinks that because, again, the game got universal praise. But there's nothing to it, really. There might be some deeper meaning to stuff, but honestly, what it presents to you, again, there's nothing. There's nothing inside this game. Team Fortress 2. I don't know what made Valve re-release Team Fortress 2, a free-to-play game, but then charge an upfront fee, as well as a microtransaction system that is nothing more than a gambling system to further nickel and dime its customers. And the fact that 90% of the unlocks that are purchased through this pure chance gambling system are worthless. I guess Valve just likes money, because the amount of money this re-release of Team Fortress 2 has made is groundbreaking, really. It is amazing how much money has been made from this free-to-play game. But oh well.
Welcome to my reality.
I will admit, the medic is probably the best thing to come out of the game. But other than that, I don't understand why the two versions of the game, the two versions of this re-release that you can buy for substantial money. Honestly, this re-release doesn't feel like it's worth the price of admission alone, let alone all of the extra costs on top of it. If it was just released as a free-to-play game, as it is, because it is functionally a free-to-play game, I would probably have less issue with the game. But honestly, you can play the game, play it for about 2 hours, and you've more or less experienced all the game has to offer. To me, it has no real staying power. Again, clearly it does, because people have bought the hell out of this re-release, because they like Team Fortress 2 with more colours, but I just don't see it. I played it and there's nothing really. Game of the Year 2016. Five Nights at Freddy's Sisters. Oh fucking no, that'd be fucking stupid. Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2. Now there's a lot wrong with this game. I will flat out admit there's a lot wrong with this game. RNG is problematic. The story itself is more or less a rehash of the first game, which is a problem. It's a fundamental problem because it's a time travel story and they only got one set timeline to work with. But the sheer amount of hours I've put into this game, and most of them have been enjoyed. I can't deny that I have enjoyed this game probably far more than I should have. But I have sunk more time into this game probably than most other games, individual games this year. New releases anyway, like I've sunk a lot more time in Persona 3, but regardless. This game has kept me. This game has kept me around. And so for that alone, I think it deserves at least an honourable mention, if nothing else. Digimon Cyber Sleuth. Now this game was something. I enjoyed the ever-loving hell out of this game. There were moments where it got annoying, but it was mostly because of me and my decision to play the game for 12 hours straight. At which point there were times where I was physically dying, but regardless, and also that one boss fight with fucking Contorusmon, but let's not get into that. That will haunt me forever. But all in all, this game I enjoyed the hell out of. And it's good to see Digimon again. I have not played a Digimon game since PS1. And it's good to get one again, because I have honestly missed Digimon. How weird that is to say in 2016 that I have missed Digimon. But I have. And this game gave Digimon to me in fucking spades. Fury. Does it surprise anyone at this point that this is on the list? I have been praising this game for like what, 3 or 4 categories out of 5 or so, almost every category. This game is a great game. I have nothing more to say. This game was amazing to play. I still boot it up every now and again. It's been a while since it came out. I still boot it up just because it's a good game to play through. It's really, really good, and I need to beat those goddamn creators' times at some point. I am getting close. That drives me. That alone drives me to do better. I need this bragging right, and this game, addicting on its own, but this added layer is just enough to keep me going for almost a year. Dark Souls 3. FromSoft have done it again. FromSoft have done it again. Even Dark Souls 2, despite its many issues and its troubled development, still a really good game. Every game in the Soulsborne franchise is just amazing. And although I prefer Bloodborne to Dark Souls 3, and honestly, the Dark Souls 3 DLC that has come out, Ashes of Ariandel, is a bit... It's rather short and feels lacking, but the game itself, with the DLC included, even without the DLC, still a really good game. Possibly the second best Souls game, I'd say. Better than Dark Souls 2. I would probably put it on par with Dark Souls 1, but not as good as Bloodborne. But regardless, this game, this bloody game is simply amazing. FromSoft, yeah, did it again. Just make sure that this time, with the last DLC, Microsoft doesn't leak it early, like they did with the release of Dark Souls 3 when they leaked it 3 weeks in advance, and the DLC of Ashes of Ariandel where they released it 5 days in advance. Like, I get it, Microsoft, you're losing the console war, you want to sell more Xbox Ones. Stop breaking street date. It's annoying for us that don't have an Xbox One. You bastards. And there you have it. That was the Subjective Objective Awards of 2016. Yet another pointless award show that has been thrown out onto the internet for no real reason other than just to voice one's opinions about video games. A hotbed topic that clearly matters to everyone on this earth. So long, nerds, and I'll see you all in 2017.